Hi everyone, I am really happy to be doing a video tutorial today with you to show you how to make a spotlight card that I featured on my blog. So if you found your way to the video today, that means that you came here through the blog, so you've already seen the card. And this is one of the cards that I'm making this week to celebrate Blue Night rubber stamps on my blog for the entire week. So this stamp is called the Dirt Road, and I have the stamp here, and I just wanted to show it to you. This is the image. I love their packaging because it gives you some ideas for coloring. Of course, you could always switch it up if you want to, but if you like the way this looks, it's so easy to just replicate that on your own card. Also, the image is a really great size. It's very user-friendly for people like me who like to make A2 size cards. So it has a lot of great detail, and as I mentioned on my blog, the thing that I love about Blue Night rubber stamps is that their images have a lot of detail, and it kind of gives you little hints and cues on where you need to shade. So if you're just beginning with coloring, whether it's pencils, markers, alcohol markers, or even watercoloring, you'll love these images because the highlights and details on the stamp give you a cue as to where you would want to shade and put some darker tones to give highlights and shadows. So this is the stamp we're going to work with today, Blue Night rubber stamps, and it's called the Dirt Road. And the card I'm going to show you how to make is this one, which is in a spotlight. So let's get started. I'm going to flip the camera down and show you some of the materials that we're going to use. Okay. Well, in addition to the rubber stamp, we are going to need, I have my little list here, we're going to create, well, first let me tell you this. You'll need to have two A2 cards. So I've already prepared, I've cut and scored my cards, so they're ready to go. Have them over here. You're going to then stamp out two of the image. One, I used black ink, but on my blog, the example, the card that I created was using a brown tone ink. But today I'm using black. So I've stamped out two of the image. One we're going to leave uncolored, and one, to get a little head start, I've already colored. So I used an assortment of Copic markers. I've used, for the grassy areas, I've used YG23, YG13, YG25, and I've also used G94, which is a deep green. Then for the road, the dirt road, the fence, and these hills in the back, I used YR24, Y26, and E55. Also, this area back here that I chose to make a stream, this blue area, running across here between the grass and the mountain. On the packaging to the stamp, they show it as another dirt or brown area. You can see that back here. But I kind of felt like I wanted to add some water to the image, so instead I made it a stream, and I created that by using BG01, BG32, and BG45. So not too many markers, and if you don't have Copics, you can look through your markers or your watercolors or your pencils and pick out colors that would allow you to create the greens and the browns, which are the main colors here. So I have one, I got a little head start here in colored, and then the one that's not colored. You'll also need a set of circle dies, or if you like to use punches, that's fine. And today I'm going to be creating the brown mat with the next to the largest, and I'm going to, well, let me just check, am I correct? Yeah, I'm going to cut the image out with the next to the largest, and then the matte layer with the largest. So I'm going to pull those aside so I don't get confused. And you see I've already cut out a piece of cardstock that I'll use with my Big Shot machine. And this one will be used to cut out the spotlighted image on here. So I'm getting all set with those. So you need a set of dies. To create the sunset, I created my own template I just took a piece of cardstock and I punched a circle with an 1¼ inch punch, and you'll see that that's how I created the sunset on this card, by using this as a template and applying the ink. So you'll get to see me do that when I do the video today. And then also for the sun, I used a few different inks. I love Altenew inks. They're really great, especially for watercoloring and inking. They just give such a great color. So I also like Gina K inks for the same purpose, but today I happen to have these handy, and it's the Warm Sunshine from Altenew, and then a good old Peach Parfait from Stampin' Up, and they gave me great colors for the sunset. So I have those. And also for the sky, I didn't want to do just one color, so I have Stormy Sky and I have Tumbles Glass. Both are Distress inks, and those will be used to create the sky. And if you're wondering how I inked, I love my clarity brushes. You see I keep them all here near my desk, and if you notice, the tips kind of look like they're one color. That's because I have them marked. Like this is my pink and orange one. This one I use for light blues. This is just an extra. I use the small one for yellow. This is for the green family, purple. So I keep them together because this way I don't cross-contaminate colors. And today I'm going to be using the blue and the yellow clarity brush when I ink the sunset. So I'll pull those out so I'm ready to use those. I also have my Big Shot off to the side, which I'm going to use. Whenever I use metallic cardstock for matting, I have 2 mats here that I'm going to mat both cards with, both images. I always like to use score tape. It gives a really good hold between cardstock onto metallic. I find that my ATG sometimes doesn't give a really, really good stick. So the last thing I want to do is give a card and they open it up and it falls apart. So ATG is wonderful. I use it all the time, but when I use metallic cardstock for matting, I always use the score tape. So I have score tape, and then also when I die cut, I'm just going to take a little piece of blue painter's tape to hold my die in place. And one other thing, I have a little piece of fun foam that's self-adhesive. I've traced a circle on it, and this is going to be used to mat my spotlighted image later on when I put the card together. So that's about everything. So let me get started to show you how to create this really great spotlight card with this really beautiful detailed stamp. So, oh, and then I forgot to tell you, at the end, we're not going to throw our scraps away. I'm going to create a bonus card because we have some pieces left that are still really nice, and I just didn't want to discard them. So in the end, I'll show you how to put this card together. Okay, so let's get started now. I have my images. And as I said, we have one that's been colored already. So now what I want to do is I want to put my sunset here. So I'm going to get my template that I created. And where did I put my template for my sun? I just had it out here. Where is my template? I showed it to you. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I kind of checked this out before I started, and I figured out where I want to put the sun. I wanted to center it a little bit, and I know that right here in this area seems to be a good spot. It's a little bit centered, so I'm gonna put it. I put little tick marks onto my template just to remind me that I wanted to line that up with the mountain edge. That gives me about 1/2 of the sun there. So I'm just gonna put that down. I'm not going to get too crazy about taping it to secure it because I'm going to use my other hand to hold it in place. I'm just going to get some of the adhesive off of this by putting it on my skin. And I'm going to tape this down. And I'm going to start first with the yellow ink. And I'm just going to load up. Let me move this down a little. You can still see it. I'm going to load up my brush. I'm not going to be stingy with this. I'm just going to make sure I get a good amount of ink on here. And I'm going to hold this, and I'm just going to apply the yellow to the white area of the cardstock. And you can see already I'm getting some sun there. You know, some nice sun color. If you could see, it's starting to build up the yellow. And I'm going to keep applying, reload my brush, and then go back and forth with the clarity brush. They're really great. They have an angled tip. They're very soft. And I'm going to give it a nice amount of yellow because that's my primary color, and then we're going to highlight with the Peach Parfait, which is like an orange color. So I'm building that up. If I want to take a peek and see how it's coming along, I could just lift this up. Ah, there's my sun. Can you see it? starting to take shape a little bit. So I just want to ink it a little bit more. Make sure I didn't move that too much. Okay, I want to build up that yellow a little bit. I'm making sure not to go over the green area of the mountains and the stream and the hill, because then I'm going to have like a blue color mountain, because blue and yellow, I mean green and yellow make blue. So I'm almost there now. I'm building up this color. See how many times I've loaded my brush. And I'm just going to keep working that sun through the template until I'm happy with the yellow. And I think that's it. So I'm going to set the yellow aside, and I'm going to get out the Peach Parfait, which is just a really, really nice color. It's got a little bit of orange in it. And now I'm going to add that over the yellow and just give it a little bit of a real, because this is just too bright. This now is like a sunrise. I want it to be more like a hot summer day sunset. So I'm going to take my brush that I use with oranges, and I'm going to load that up. And I'm going to just go over the same yellow. And you can see already, just with loading it up once, I'm already getting a different tone now. Now the sun is starting to look very orange, like an evening summer sun. So I'm going to do that. And I'm just building up that color. It's very easy to do. It's like foolproof. I'm just going to keep inking this up. I see already it's changing. I don't know if you can see. It's getting a little darker. When I remove the template, you're going to love seeing the nice shape of that sun on there. And I created the template just with a 1 1/4 inch punch. I've had a long, long time. I use it often for this. And just a piece of cardstock. So I think we're getting there now. I'm building up the orange. And I think that this stamped image just is really, really friendly for creating a sunset scene. Okay, here we go. So there's the sun. What do you think? Can you see it? I'll pick it up and give you a little look. There we have the sun. I've created that with the template. Okay, so now I just want to extend the orange a little bit beyond the sun, because the sunset wouldn't be a clean line. There's always that glow around the sun. So I'm taking my brush. I'm holding it tightly. I don't want it to be too big now. And I'm just brushing on some orange beyond the sun. Okay? And I'm going out so that it fades out. And we're almost done with that now. Okay. All right, so here we have now, you can see I've got the sun that I used the template for. It was a base of yellow inked on with the Clarity stencil brush. Then I went over it with the Peach Parfait to give it an orange color, and now I've extended that beyond. Now we're going to get ready. I just want to get a piece of scrap paper. We're going to get ready to ink on the sky. So let me put away my yellow and orange brush, and I'm getting out my blue brush. And we're going to ink the sky on with, I'm going to start out with the lighter color, the tumbled glass. It's a little bit brighter. So this is the tumbled glass, distress ink. I'm going to ink up, and this is pretty easy. Once again, I don't want to go over my colored image because I don't want to cast the blue color onto the image. So I'm just going to kind of go like this and get some blue onto the background. And you can see it's already starting to build up. I'm going to bring it down close to the mountains, but I'm going to try not to go over them. Okay, I'm just going to continue to ink up everything. Okay, getting close now to the tree area. So I'm going to ink the tip and try to get in there a little bit. I could, if I want to, I could have taken a piece of paper and just kind of put it over here to protect that area. So I'll do that to show you if you're concerned about getting ink onto the other area. And I could move it over here as I get a little closer to the sun. Okay, and then I'll do the same over here. And you want to make sure that you're blending the blue into the orange that I have around the sun, that glow, because that's how it would be in nature. The glow of the sun would fade into the sky, and that's how you get good blending. Okay, so I want to get into here now. Okay, and then the best motion to use these, once you get your areas a little bit inked up, you can then just go back and forth, and that's a great way to build up the color. I'm going to ink up my brush a little more. You notice my motion is back and forth, back and forth. This way I'm getting ink this way, and I'm getting ink that way. So let's go back and forth. Okay, so now I'm happy with the base color that I have here. I want to get a little closer though to this sun. Let's see if I can get in there. I'm going to go down towards the glow. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. It just was looking separate, so I want to make sure that I get that in there. All right, so I think I'm done with that color. Now I'm going to go to a little bit of a darker blue, Stormy Sky. Sometimes I clean my brush off, but I'm going to a darker color, so I'm not so worried about that. And I'm just going to ink it up. See, that's a much darker color. And my pad is nice and juicy. So now I'm going to bring this color in. I'm not so concerned with getting even coverage because I want it to be a natural sky. So it'll be a little bit spotted, like where there's lighter areas and darker, but I just want to create the illusion of a sky with the ink. Okay, over here I see some white areas, so I want to get in there and ink that up. I'm going right over the trees because they've already been colored with an alcohol marker, so they can take the brush over them. And I'm going to come in this way, get a little more ink over here, and then it looks like we need a little bit of ink on the top here. So let's get some ink on there. Let's go back and forth. Okay, I think we're good. Let me just get in here a little bit more. I don't want any white showing, so let me just ink this up. There we go. That's the great thing about inking. You can go back and you can blend, and it's just really great. Great way to enjoy working with ink and not getting so hung up on being exact, because blending is sometimes allows you the opportunity to shade. So over here, I just want to get a bit more of ink. Okay. So here now, we've got our sunset. You have your glow around the sun, you have your nice orange sun, and we have that sky that does look a little bit stormy, just like the ink says. So we've got that all set. Okay, now I can put away my brushes, and I like to always remove them from the table because I don't want brushes spilling over and marking up my cards. So now the next thing is we want to create the spotlight. So I'm going to take the die, and I'm going to cut out the image, and I'm going to center it to where I want, and then I'm going to cut out this brown metallic matte. So let me put away my ink, and I'm going to get out the smaller of the two dies that I chose, and I'm going to position it over the sunset where I want it. So I know that I want to capture this part of the image that's in the center, because when I put it together to make this, I want this to be in the center. I don't want it to be over to the side. So here we go. I'm positioning that. I've got my little piece of tape. I'm going to reuse my tape from when I did the sun. I think I like where this is. I think this is in a good position. So I think I'm going to just bring it down a little because I want to use this. Okay, so now we're just going to tape this together. Whoops. Let me just do it over here. Okay, and I've got that in position now, and I'm going to just put it through my Big Shot. Okay, put that on here. And I think one pass through the machine should do it, but I'll go backwards anyway, just in case. And let's see. Oh, this is great. Excellent. Let me just move my Big Shot out of the way. Okay, so here we go. We now have, remove the tape gently. So now we have this one, and we have this piece. Okay, so now I'm going to set this piece aside, the extra one. And I am going to now cut out the matte layer. And for that, I just took a scrap of the same metallic cardstock that I'm going to use. So let me attach this so it doesn't shift. I'll set my image aside. And once again, I need my Big Shot. And the metallic cardstock is really heavy, so I would always want to pass it through my die cutting, unless I'm using the Gemini and then one pass works. But when I use a manual machine like the Big Shot, I put it through, and sometimes I even do 3 times because I want it to cut. But today worked well. So here we have it. I've got my brown metallic layer. Maybe you can see it. There's a nice shimmer to it. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And that's going to be my matte layer. And I think I can move my Big Shot out of the way now. Okay, so let's move this to the side. And now we're ready to start to put the card together. So being that we're making 2 cards, we're making the main card and then we're going to do the bonus card. What I did was, let me move this out of the way. I cut 2 matte layers. And what I also did was I trimmed these images down, both of them, the colored and the uncolored. I trimmed them down to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. That still left a lot of that dirt road image. So I didn't really lose a lot of the image by cleaning it up, just the edges. Okay, now each of those fits beautifully on a matte layer. And the matte layer is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I always use my score tape, as I said, whenever I'm using metallic cardstock. So I want to make sure that I get some nice adhesive on here. Let me get my scissors out. And I'm just going to put a few pieces of score tape right on the back of this colored image that's going to be spotlighted. Okay, so I think 3 pieces should do it. I think that makes me feel good. Sometimes I get a little crazy with the score tape because I want a good stick and I always worry something's going to fall apart. But I'm going to take that off now and put my little scraps to the side. Okay, and then as soon as I get this off, what we'll do is we will now place this image onto this matte layer and center it so we have nice even matting all around. Score tape's not very forgiving, so try to get it in the right place so you're not struggling with it like I just did. Okay, so there we go. Okay, I've got this matted now. Okay, it's got this nice metallic matte layer. I also already traced with one of the other dies a little circle on this fun foam that's self-adhesive. So I'm just going to cut that out because this is going to be, instead of using little tiny dimensionals, I'm going to use this one big piece behind the circle so that it has some dimension on the card. Okay, so now I've got my circle, my foam circle ready. Now we want to get to putting the card together. So for this card, I want to put the spotlighted color over this one. So I'm just going to take, again, I use score tape because I want a good stick. Metallic cardstock, sometimes ATG is just not enough. So I'm going to put a few pieces of score tape on the back of this. And I'll put a little one over here. I don't need the full length because this is really, really good tape. Okay, it gives a good stick. Some people like the red liner tape. I like this one, so that's what I use. Alrighty, I'm going to take this off of here. This is when I wish I had longer nails, but I keep my nails short because I work with inks a lot and I don't like dirty nails. So you just have to bear with me while I get these little tabs off of here. Okay, so I'm just putting the adhesive on the back of this layer. Okay, now I'm going to take one of my mats and I'm going to center this. I have that nice even matting around all the edges. Okay, there, so now I've matted the uncolored one. And I'm going to get out one of my cards that I prepared already. This matte layer is a perfect fit for this card front. Again, I use my score tape because I need a good stick with the metallic cardstock. If I was using regular cardstock, just matte cardstock, I wouldn't feel the need to use the score tape, but I've learned from experience over the years of working with heavy metallic cardstock that it really does need the score tape. So I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to emphasize that to you in case you do this. I wouldn't want you to go through investing all of your time to create a beautiful card and then have it come apart because the metallic cardstock wasn't holding the adhesive. Okay, so now I always like to turn my card upside down when I'm matting, so I'm going to put this on here and attach this matte layer. I left myself a little room for a very narrow white border around the edge. Okay, and now this is when we're going to use the foam piece on the back of here to give this some dimension. So one side is adhesive, one side isn't. So here again, guess what? Here I go. I am going to use my score tape on the back of the foam because it's going to stick to metallic cardstock. So I'll put a few pieces on here, and then you'll get to see the person in me who goes a little crazy with the adhesive. After I get this done, I'll show you what else I do, because I need to know that it's going to stick. Okay, I'm going to take off these 3 little strips. I put the score tape on the non-adhesive side of the fun foam. So if you're wondering about the fun foam, this is it. It's just, you know, it comes in a package of like 20 sheets. You can buy them individual at the craft store. I've been using the blue one right now. Oh, I'll show you a little trick. I just remembered something. If you're concerned that the edge of the fun foam will show, if someone picks up the card and like looks at it, just take a dark marker and go all around the edge and make the edge black. And then when somebody picks up the card, they're not going to see the blue because the black will be so dark they won't realize there's something behind there. So just go around this and make the whole edge, hold your marker sideways, and just go around the edge. And here you go. Now when you pick up the card, no one's going to see the edge of the fun foam because it's dark, it's shadowed. Okay, so that's a little trick. Just keep it dark. It could be a Sharpie, it could be anything. Alright, so now here's the paranoid me, always worried about adhesive. So now I'm going to take my ATG and I'm going to add extra in between the other lines. Okay, now I'm going to put this on the center, the back of this. Here's the self-adhesive part, so I'm peeling this off. And here we go. I'm just, for my security, working on this card, I just need to put a little bit of the score tape in addition to the adhesive backing. Makes me feel good, and I feel like I don't worry that it's going to pop off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the card and I'm going to take the image and line it up with the white part of this image. So I know there's the third tree, there's the second tree, there's the stream, there's the center, and I'm going to just put this on here. Okay, I'm going to shift this up a little bit. It's a little bit. Let me get it in place. Here we go. Okay, so there's your spotlighted card. So you've got this completed now. It's really very easy. You're just coloring an image. If you want, you don't have to make a sunset. If you have a cloud template, Blue Night Rubber Stamps make an amazing cloud template, which you'll see me working on my blog this week. But you can create the sun template. You can put just a regular sky in the back. Whatever you want to do, you want to make a dark night sky with stars, you could do that. So if you want to keep this dirt, don't do the blue like I did for the stream. Put brown colors in here, or gray and brown. So here's the completed card. So now the bonus is we have, where's my other image now? I'm always losing things. Oh, I had to stamp another. Oh, I should have stamped. Anyway, let me just tell you, I didn't stamp another image. You really needed 2 blanks. Under here is another image that I didn't color. What I did was I did the same thing. I took the matte layer, I put the stamped image on here. I'm sorry, I didn't make an extra one. put the stamped image here, not colored. I put it on here, and then I put this on top of that. And that's how I wound up with this version of the card. Now, my cards don't have sentiments on them. I didn't put any sentiments because I want to decide when I'm ready to use them what I want to do. This one, I left it up a little higher because I think I want to put a sentiment over here and I want to leave enough room, possibly a banner across the bottom. So when I chose to cut this, I raised it a little. This one I'm thinking of leaving just as a note card. This one, I'll probably put a sentiment, but it'll probably go across here. It needs something on the front, so I will do something. And this one I couldn't finish to show you, but that's the bonus. So don't throw away your scraps. Keep this because it's beautifully colored. You spent time creating it. And if you just put an uncolored version of the image here and put this on top and match up the lines, you will wind up with a card like this. So there you have it. This is my project that I worked on with this amazing, amazing stamp from Blue Knight. Again, it's called The Dirt Road. It's one of a half a dozen stamps that I'm going to work with all week long on my blog, just exclusively from Blue Knight to show you how great they are to work with. They have so many great images, a lot of scenes and different things that are just so much fun if you're a person that likes to color. And if you don't like to color, a lot of the images can stand up on their own with just some highlighting and maybe embellishing. So thank you so much. Let me turn the camera up. Thank you so much, guys, for visiting today and for joining me for making this card. I hope that it brought you in touch with something that maybe you haven't done before and that you realize that sometimes you can step outside of your comfort zone and do something that you've never done before. And if you haven't ever done a spotlight card, this is a great opportunity because images like this, like the Dirt Road, will give you the opportunity to color and then use part of the image with a lot of detail. Don't forget, if you're going to make a sunset, create your own template. And I hope that as I start to do more videos that you join me again. I love sharing cards with people. I like to create them, give them away, and I love to teach card classes and share what techniques and little tricks I like to make. So don't forget, big trick for today was to edge the back of your little foam circle so that when it's back here, nobody sees it. It just looks like black space. Thank you so much, and I hope that you stop at my blog every day this week to see what's going on with Blue Knight stamps right there at the Bellissima Cards blog. Thank you guys and have a great day.